Hi there and welcome to the Labyrinth, or welcome back, whatever the case may be. For those of you that aren't aware, I'm Anna Pirelli. I'm the owner of Lorena's Labyrinth, and I'd like to thank you for being part of my journey. I've seen more interaction happening on the channel lately, and I just want to acknowledge and thank those people that are making comments. It's really nice for myself and my associate because it helps to validate what we're contributing is of interest to people. And frankly, it motivates and inspires us to continue to do more of the same, especially at the moment because technology is a massive challenge for me. We'll get into that shortly. But for now, though, I just want to thank those people for being part of the channel, for their feedback, and encourage people to participate and to share the information that we put up. And to subscribe and get notified. If the content is of interest to you, please do subscribe. It's always appreciated. And I constantly have this buzzing of information and potential content of what I can put up next that hopefully will add value to people's lives. So for those who aren't aware, that yes, I do spiritual stuff, but yes, I'm still very earthy. I am the same as everybody else. I have the same emotions and all the rest of it. And I have my own little itty bitty inner baby that sometimes needs a bit of a stroke every now and again. And I just want to acknowledge in gratitude the validation that I received from somebody. And that means acknowledging E. You know who you are. And I thank you for your feedback to me. Basically, many people may not be aware, but I stepped back from delivering personal consultant services for my own reasons earlier this year and to address things that have been happening in my life. And I suspect, without going back through things, that E may have been one of the, I'm just calling it E to protect her privacy. She may have been one of the last people to actually have received a reading from me in about January of this year. And so it was actually really comforting and rewarding to me, especially in the face of the challenges that I was going through at the time, that she emailed me a couple of days ago to tell me that she'd revisited the reading which I'd sent to her in a typed form back in January, and that as far as she was concerned, that it was on the money as far as my predictions went. So from the stroke, the little inner baby, that's really comforting and rewarding to me because I see myself as a vessel, not the divine messenger itself. You know, I am the middle person, the middle medium, or whatever the messages come to me, and I've got a responsibility to try and deliver them in the truest way possible and keep my personals out of anything, you know, because we are human. It's easy to mix the energies. So anyway, when I get validation like that, it's really heartwarming to me because it lets me know that I was listening properly, effectively, and I was able to communicate and convey the message in its intended state. So it was really encouraging, very nice for me. And it makes me think, you know, I work as a team with my guides, and if I can get on top of what's happening now, because I'm working on other projects, so time management is a bit of an issue for me, I might start offering readings again in the not too distant future. I'll definitely be getting back into channeling because that's one of the projects on the radar. But I hadn't considered going back into readings in the near future, but I might do it because it's really rewarding to me personally to know when I've offered a quality service to people. So I just want to say to E, thank you, my friend. Thank you. And thank you to our guides for working together so well. So as a technology update, lives really are not on the radar in the near future. It remains, technology remains a nightmare for me due to infrastructure. And to bring you up to date, I had a full-blown whining whinge session to my internet service provider about the fact that on a good day I've only got 20 megabytes per second or whatever, and on a bad day I'm pushing 6 and pushing it all uphill, which is really quite diabolical. Anyway, they were lovely, the company, and they sent a technician around on a Sunday of all days to set me up to be able to receive the best service that's available, which in Australia it's optical fibre. But there is a problem because while I'm now ready to receive it, the infrastructure is not in place for me to connect to it. So the current situation remains that it's down It's now up to local government to put the approvals and allow for the cabling to be put in, and that is likely going to include ripping up some roads and pavements. So I'm not sure when that will happen. I can't see them. There would be an easier way normally, but there is a massive giant carry tree next door to me, and if they were to try and put the cable through there, it might destabilize the tree, and that would be tragic because obviously it's a very old one. And I love it. I love the tree because the black cockatoos come and they feed off it a couple of times a year, and they're an endangered species. And that's a really special treat to actually have the black cockies. So, yeah, anyway, technology is a pain in the backside still. This week, you will have seen content put up on spiritual or psychic boundaries and protection. And I have included a technique on that video for sealing the aura. And it's really essential that all energy workers, including Reiki practitioners, I make a special mention with them that they learn to seal their auras so that they don't transfer energy from one client to another. Now, I know specifically the reason why I'm talking about Reiki practitioners is because, of course, I've done quite a few attunements and I teach it. And I'm aware that there are Reiki teachers out there that say that, you can't do that if you're Reiki. It doesn't happen. It won't happen. Well, I can assure you it can, and it does. And I learned about it the hard way. And that was when I was giving a treatment to a male, if you don't mind. And during the process, my thoughts, they went off on their own little tangent as they do. And at the end of it, he said, that was the bizarrest thing. I said, what do you mean? He said, I found myself asking myself, am I pregnant? And he said it was like this yearning, burning thing that he needed to go and do a pregnancy test. Well, I can tell you that's where my thoughts had strayed when I was giving the treatment. I was actually thinking, I wonder if I'm pregnant. I need to go and do a test. So I can assure you that, yes, there can be a transfer if you don't seal the energy properly of your own aura. Another example of this happening within the context of Reiki, it can happen with all modalities, I believe. Sorry, I just need to have a cough. Was actually my daughter attended. She was invited to something. I can't remember what it was like, what it was called. It's where a bunch of women go along and they sit around and they do a bit of a pamper because they need a bit of a pamper or whatever, and they get given a massage or cup of tea and stuff like that. Is it kind of a retreat or something? Anyway, she got invited to one of those and she went along, and there was a Reiki practitioner there who was going from person to person, and bless her socks, because this one's a bit of a chip off the old block, except that she seems to take my abruptness to new levels. She's actually turned around and said to the lady before she's come over to lay the hands on, like, you need to clear that first. And the lady said, no, it's Reiki, I don't need to. And my daughter's like, no, you need to. I don't, whatever, argued with the lady. And the lady didn't give up, though. Apparently she did end up laying her hands on them. My daughter said that she actually felt it, and because she's energy sensitive, okay? And realistically, I think we need to clarify here that if we are picking up energy ourselves in this kind of text or context, that represents that my daughter has a boundary issue. She hasn't got a boundaries in place effectively if she's susceptible to energy in that way. But at the same time, if people aren't energy aware, and even if they are, I struggle with energetic boundaries at different times. I've got to remind myself continually to be vigilant with it and to monitor them. There can be that transfer of energy as well. And if somebody's going through a lot of dark emotional stuff, that's just sort of like not a really pleasant experience. But anyway, going back to it, I'll put a link to the video into the description here so that everybody can have a look at it. And if you're an energy worker, there's a method for sealing your energy, or your aura rather, so you don't do this transferring. Moving along. Numerology continues to be loaded weekly, and I've been thinking about doing a standalone numerology video on Prince Harry, to be honest, including things like his name numerology as well as his ruling and day numbers. I might even be able to look at karmic path there, but I do wonder if people are interested in that. And this week I stumbled a little bit when I was doing one of the birth chart analysis for the ruling numbers. And it's because I'm using people that are alive. And I kind of consider that, if you know the numerology, you can actually dig quite deep into their personas. And I'm not sure that it's the best use of gifts to be doing it in a public forum for people, especially if that person's living. Of course, there are always exceptions and that kind of thing. There's more than just numerology when it comes to life path, but you can get some really good information through numerology and astrology when you wrap it all together. Anyway. Oh, I know. One of the things I'm currently looking at and considering is, if time prevails in regard to the numerology, I might, and I do that if time prevails, put together a video, because we're coming to the end of 2023 and we're coming into 2024. So we all have personal years, and I haven't done a video yet or discussed personal years and the implications for people, but maybe I will try and do it before January the 1st. It might sound confusing to you if you're unfamiliar with the topic, but once I do it, it will definitely make sense. And if I don't do it before January the 1st, I'll definitely do it in the early part of 2024. Okay? I continue doing the art reels, and I've decided to load them on a Tuesday. So when I talk about the art reels, this is using the artificial intelligence as a basis. And my God, I tell you, some of the stuff turns out really good and some stuff turns out just absolutely horrendous. But having said that, let me know the type of artwork that you're interested in, because my aim is to please. This particular fairy here, she's called the Fuchsia Fairy, and I really like the way she's come up. I actually really like those colours. In regard to the quotes, that anybody would think that would be a simple task, but combined with my technology, that has proved to be a right challenge this week. But hopefully I've now got a system in place where I can continue to do them on a regular basis, and it won't be quite as demanding and psychologically exhausting as this last week has been with them, because that's been a bit of a nightmare. But anyway, they will continue to be loaded on a Wednesday. So I'm continuing to do the universal laws and load them on a daily basis. And of course, I'm not channeling when I speak to these laws. I'm just giving my opinion, thoughts, understandings, and interpretations in the conscious state. Now, I can honestly tell you that some of this stuff I'm looking at, I'm like, oh my God, that just makes my brain hurt, right? So I'm glad that I'm unpacking it. I mean, I have found myself questioning myself where I was at. As I said, I created these documents many years ago. I believe I was channeling at the time that I created them, but I must have had, in all honesty, I just can't remember, there must have been something there that I was looking at and working off to reach my own conclusions, that because some of this content I just find so mind-boggling, okay, especially when we start talking about the cosmic influences and all of that. So all I do is present you with some information, what I have found, what I understand, what I don't understand. I'm actually going to be putting up one of them in the next couple of days, which is basically the equivalent of like, what does that mean? Right? Because some of these topics are just so big. So if it doesn't work for you, if you look at it and you think like, whatever, leave it go. Because I know that although I went through this exercise way back when, in 2004, 2005, somewhere around there, that it was probably a few years later I reached the point of concluding, do I actually need to know all of this stuff? I'm not convinced that I actually do. So I've gone to the stage now where it's like, if it's not relevant to what's happening on the life path right now, I'm not going to get stuck in it, okay? Because at the end of the day, I don't believe that's part of my life path, right? We all different strokes for different folks. So I'm not judging other people if that's what they're into and they feel the need to really know all these inner universal workings right now, here today. because that may well be part of their path. I learned that a long time ago, especially if they're Geminis or the air signs. This is right up their street, because they have that capacity to process. Myself, I'm more of the earth fire type stuff. I need the doing aspect. So I'm interested in the stuff that is relevant to me being able to fulfill what I consider to be my responsibilities right here today. And God, what was I going to say with that? I'll let that aside because there's another thought that I want to express, something that I noticed. So sometimes I do these videos and then afterwards I reflect a bit more and I think, I probably could have done that better, or I probably could have added X or Y. But I think I conclude that I'm not going to redo the videos, because where there are areas that I haven't expanded upon or whatever, I actually think that's an opportunity for discussion. And what I did this week, I realized I was recording the law of reincarnation. It's actually called the law of cyclical return, if I can remember correctly. But anyway, I sort of, as I was talking about it, I reached a sort of conclusion, if you like, that we must have about 81 lives. I think I must have been off my face, actually, when I reached that conclusion. But anyway, you would need to read the law and how I've approached it to actually understand where that 81 comes from and why I came to that. But either way, that's incorrect. That has to be incorrect for any number of reasons, because I realized afterwards, if I was to even attempt to calculate what the lifetimes would be, if you're talking about cyclical return, it must include, obviously, we've got numerological pathways, we've got the cycles of 9. So a soul is born, if you like, it becomes incarnated, and then it would go through a cycle of 9 lifetimes minimum, okay? But then because you have one cycle, there must be a repetition. This is where I came to the conclusion about 81. There must be, I was just theorizing, there must be a further 8 cycles, which means 81. But then I got off the computer and I walked away and I thought, but hang on a moment. If we were actually, so this is all theoretical, okay? This is just speculation. If that were the case, if we were to have every cycle, that would mean we'd have to be in one lifetime a ruling number 1 being a Aquarius, a ruling number 1 being a Pisces, and so forth and so on. So we've got all these different astro signs as well. Then there's the argument and debate around, do we have 12 astro signs or do we actually have 13? You know, so it goes on. And then there is karma as well. So it's like, yeah, whatever. Okay. So where I'm going with that is, when you get to that slide, feel free to make comments and put your own thoughts up, because I'd be eager to listen to them. These could be fascinating discussion points, but at the moment our conversations seem to be a little one-sided. Never mind, moving along. So it's not that far away from us entering into 2024. So what I've actually decided to do, oops, I hope that didn't interfere, that you didn't hear the beep on my computer, but whatever, moving on, as I do, because I'm good at this, right? Well, I'm not, I'm just joking. Okay, because we're coming to the end of 2023 and we're going to enter into 2024, a whole new calendar year, what I'm going to do is provide a video strategy over the next week or so, which is something that we can all do before we enter into the new year. Now, if your faith or culture is one that has a different marker to January the 1st or whatever, just apply the technique and strategy to something within your own culture. That, you know, like the Chinese have got Chinese New Year. Do it at the time of the year that seems appropriate to you, because with the activity that I'm going to give to you, it can be done a number of times a year, more than once, but it will, it's a method using ritual to energize and maximize the potential of 2024 through the art of ritual blessings and gratitude. Okay, so I'm looking forward to sharing it with you, and I hope that you will enjoy it. Anyway, that's on the radar. You'll see it go up at the very latest by about the 29th of December, because you'll need to set aside at least a couple of hours over that time frame to really think about how you want to energize 2024. So that strategy will be up in the near future. So it's taken me quite a while to reach a decision about what I'm going to do with Realm Spiritual Advisors. So just to update you, I'm going to unpublish the site. It's costing me too much money to keep it sitting there, and there hasn't really been any great interest anyway. So where I'm at with it is it was created with good intention. I did feel that I was guided to start the project at least. It took a lot of time, energy, and money, and clearly it hasn't come to fruition. So I would say that it's either not meant to happen or it's not meant to happen right now. So it is with some regret that I'm going to be pulling the pin on it, but I would like to say and acknowledge too that through this process I met some truly amazing people, and I learned a lot, including about boundaries and so forth, because this is all important stuff. So overall, it's been a good experience. It's been very valuable, but it's not viable to keep it sitting there indefinitely. So it will be removed before the end of the month to pave the way for new beginnings and open the door to new energies for 2024. So if you were involved in that, I just want to thank you, okay? And wish you the very best for 2024 as well. So I'm currently exploring ideas also for 2024 and what you might enjoy. So I'm asking you the question, is there something that you would like to see on here? Podcasts and interviews with energy workers, perhaps of interest to you. If you've got thoughts on what kind of content that you'd like to see here, by all means, please do make a comment. As for the video today, I think I've covered everything. The content obviously is going to be loaded on a regular basis, and at the right time I will make a disclosure to you guys, because I'm in the process of manifesting. Now, for those of you who are new to manifestation, the idea is that if you're actually working on a project or attempting to manifest, that you keep it under wraps until it's ready for the disclosure thing. And the manifestation project that I'm working on right now, it doesn't have a date yet. It will probably be a couple of months before I can make that disclosure, but I will be sure to keep you in the loop. So until next time, my friends, have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Stay well, be blessed. Light, love, laughter to you all. If you like what you see, subscribe. I appreciate it. Thank you. It shows that we're valued. Anyway, take care. Have a great day. See you later. Bye-bye.